I'll talk to you about Grays. I have a lot of questions about Grays. First of all, there was some mix-up this week because people thought you guys were getting back into production, but you're not getting back into production. Do you have any sort of timeline? What are those conversations like right now about when you could go back to filming?
It seems like September. Seems like in about a month.
Okay.
September right now. Again, we were trying to end of August, and then it pushed. So our producers are all rapidly trying to implement all of these protocols to keep everybody safe. We're obviously going to be tested multiple times a week and sort of separated in zones. We're going to have a lot less personnel on set. We're going to be wearing full PPE, of course, as we're going to take place in coronavirus on the show when we start the season. So all of our actors will be justifiably protected. So it works both ways. And yeah, we'll see. It's a new world. We're uniquely lucky that we get to wear PPE because we play doctors. So for other shows that aren't in the doctor world, I really feel for them because that's an added challenge, even more that they have to face. But I'm really hoping that we can figure it out and keep producing this amazing show that so many fans love to watch. And there's been no shortage of incredible stories that have been going on during this time, both within the hospital walls and also on the streets of a lot of cities protesting. So we hope to tell all those stories this season.
Have you received any of the season 17 scripts yet? Like, do you know where things are gonna?
I have not, no. I really feel for the writers and the Writers Guild this year. Writers are very compromised because they have to think about the producibility of what they're writing, right? It's like, okay, I created this great scene, but can we shoot it? Are we able to safely shoot this scenario? Okay, it's a great scene, but that means we're gonna have 10 people there, and then, no, it's not gonna work. We're not gonna be able to safely do that, and it's gonna expose, no, sorry. So then the writers are having to constantly go back to the drawing board and really, it's really kind of tightening their freedom in terms of what they can write. So
Sure.
I really feel for them.
You mentioned the pandemic episode, and I know that Chris has talked about that a little bit. How do you think Deluca would fare in an episode or in episodes like that?
I kind of think he thrives in chaos, and he's certainly proved that in the past seasons that, when there's a lot going on, he really steps up. So I think this is going to be obviously a very stressful situation, but I think an exciting one where I think he can really shine and then thrive.
Do you know anything about the direction that episode is going to go? You said it could be at the very beginning of season 17.
We're going to start the season about a month and a half into full COVID. So it's going to take place, a little bit beyond where we left off at the last season. So we might have some flashbacks. We might have some things where we're referencing last season just to kind of give us some context leading up. But we are going to have a little bit of a leap when we start this season in terms of time. We're not picking up right where we left off.
Maggie said she'll call us if there are any changes.
I can't, I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Well, then I have a lot of questions about that because Deluca left off and I'm a little bit worried for his mental state. But you also mentioned possibly a protest episode or covering the protests on the show. How do you see that?
I'm just speculating at this point. All the writers and producers have said, they're very interested in telling the stories of, everything that's been going on with the Black Lives Matter movement during this time. And it's certainly something that they're, whether it's the first episode or the second or I don't know where it's going to land, but they're very interested in definitely telling those stories.
Well, let's talk about Deluca a little bit because when he did leave off, he sort of saved the day when it came to Richard and that cobalt hip, but a lot of people were very worried about his mental state. You mentioned the time jump, so I'm curious where his mental state could be. Is that going to be explored more in season 17?
Yeah, I'm curious too with you. I think it's definitely going to be continued to be explored. That was a big build up to that storyline that we had talked about, I think, 2 years ago. That we're going to slowly sort of ramp up to building this storyline for Deluca. So I think, where we ended, even though it's not exactly where we wanted to end last season, I think there would have been a little bit more resolve had we not been shut down. We're going to have to play that in this season. So, yeah.
Krista had mentioned that, so there were 4 episodes that were kind of left on the cutting room floor. They were never aired, and she mentioned there might be rewrites. They might use some of that material. Do you have an update on that?
So we would hate to just kind of throw it away. So I think we might be using it as sort of context to kind of catch us up to where we are currently when we start the season, to kind of bring us up to speed. It's kind of sprinkled throughout.
Yeah.
But again, that's just, speculating at this point. I don't know what they're, every day, they're probably having new guidelines in place. And so it's a challenging thing to start.
I'm sure you saw the news that Richard Flood was up to series regular.
Yeah, so happy for him. We love having him.
It means a lot more McWidow, though, potentially. So what does that mean for the love triangle between Meredith and Deluca and him?
Yeah, well, I think, in the beginning, from just, the outside sort of viewer mentality watching the show, I think it was clear that, he was having a hard time getting his foot in the door of that triangle, Richard's character. And but by the end of it, because of DeLuca's mental health, he did really, not do great favors for himself or for Meredith in terms of their relationship, leaving Richard to be open to be much more desirable and stable and more of a compatible partner. So I think, this season will probably feature a lot of DeLuca trying to make up maybe for his wrongs, things he said, things he did when he was, unstable. Meredith having to maybe reconcile that or not. And Richard's character trying to continue to pursue Meredith. So I think it's something that we still are interested in. That's why, they updated him to series regular, so we could really have him around for a while and really tell that story and not have to tell it in a short time, but really have the time of a season or so to tell that.
We love a Grey's love triangle.
It's a patented technique, Grey's Anatomy.
Where do you think Meredith's head is at? And do you think Meredith and DeLuca could be endgame?
I think they definitely have a great compatibility. I definitely think they have a lot of chemistry. They're fun to watch. And I've been with people who are my opposite, but you're attracted because of that. And you complement each other or fill in each other's gaps in a way. So I think they are kind of yin and yang in the sense that they're in different places in their lives. They've had different experiences in their lives, and these are the things that help to kind of complete each other. So I think that they have a good shot, but I don't know where the future will lead.
You guys are going into season 17, which is an amazing accomplishment.
Insane.
Do you ever think about, the final season? Do you guys talk about that?
I put my foot in my mouth so many times over the years. I don't know what this is gonna, I think this year is going to be sort of a test run in terms of can we actually do this show? Can we actually shoot this show safely? Were we able to get through a season? How many challenges were there? How much did it cost us? And all those kinds of things. And I think that's going to ultimately, make a reevaluation at the end of the year and say, can we even do this again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the studio and everyone wants us to make it forever because it's so beloved. But I really don't know how long it could go on at this point with COVID and everything.
If it were up to you, though, would you play DeLuca for as long as they wanted you to?
I love playing DeLuca, but as long as I was open to doing other projects as well, then yes, definitely. I am very, very proud of my DeLuca character.
I want to commend you because you're using your platform for something really nice. You're doing this virtual festival, and it benefits My Friend's Place, which helps homeless teens. So kind of talk about why you wanted to host this and be a part of this and why it's important to you.
So every year, My Friend's Place, for those of you who don't know, is a drop-in resource center for homeless youth in Los Angeles. We serve ages 12 to 25, as well as their children, as well as their dogs and their cats. But because when this crisis hit, it forced a lot of people who were on the line into homelessness. My friends placed did a very, very noble thing, and they lifted their age bracket and started welcoming anyone of any age to come to their doors, because they recognized that, you know, they needed to work with other organizations to make sure everybody out there was getting what they needed.
Yeah.
So I really commend them for that.
You've worked with them for a while now, right? Like you've done
Yeah,
other-
about 5 years now.
How will this event be different? I mean, obviously it's virtual.
We decided to do a 5-day long summer festival where each day of the 5 days we have something that's easy, an hour, you jump in, you jump out, very accessible, and then you can go about your day. And it's all to raise money for homeless youth. So we're kicking it off this Sunday, August 9th, with Standing Together. It's our benefit concert. So we got all kinds of artists like JoJo, Mario, Kenzie Ziegler, and a lot more. It's free. You just tune into all of my friends' places, streaming platforms on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and you can stream it live for free. And you get to see all these amazing artists that you love sing and perform. So that's pretty cool. It's on all of my socials. You can see it, mfpsummerfest.givesmart.com. That's where you can sort of purchase or sign up for all these different workshops, even though it's a time of need. So we obviously understand, but if there's anything that any family can spare, we would really, really greatly appreciate it.